For a decade, I waved to the man in the flat across from mine, until I learned no one had lived there for 20 years, including him. They say London never truly sleeps, but for 10 years, I found strange comfort in one quiet constant: the man across the street. Every night, around 11 p.m., I'd see him through the window of the flat directly opposite mine in Camden, always sitting at the same desk by the lamp, scribbling something, occasionally looking up and nodding if I was at my window too. I lived alone, still do. A junior architect working late hours, struggling with silence after Mum passed. That window was company, stability. We never spoke, not once. But I started calling him Mr. North because his flat faced true north from mine. One night, I even raised a glass to him and he did the same. The weird thing was, he never seemed to age. Not once in all those years. Same shaggy dark hair, same wool jumper, same stillness. I chalked it up to distance, or maybe wishful thinking. He became part of my routine. When I got promoted, I toasted him. When my girlfriend left me, he was the only one I felt understood. And then, last October, everything changed. The council put up scaffolding over the opposite building, apparently to restore the historical facade. I figured it was temporary. But as the builders started pulling the outer layers apart, I noticed something strange. His flat was hollow, gutted, nothing behind the windows. One evening, after too many whiskeys, I marched over and asked a worker what they were doing. "This whole wing's been sealed off for years, mate," he said. "Unsafe structure. No one's been in since the fire." I blinked. "What fire?" He looked at me sideways. 2002, big blaze, top 2 floors abandoned ever since. Thought they were knocking it down. My legs nearly gave out. 2002, that would mean no one had lived there for 2 decades. I tried to laugh it off. Maybe I had the wrong flat. But that night, I stood by my window, and he was there, Mr. North, writing, looking right at me. I felt cold everywhere. I didn't wave. He didn't either. I backed away and didn't sleep. I couldn't. Over the next few days, I convinced myself it was grief or delusion. Too much loneliness. I even booked a therapist, but I needed to. No. I bribed a worker with £40 to let me into the opposite building. Climbing the old stairwell was like descending into rot. Dust, ash, cobwebs, graffiti. My torch flickered. The flat door opened without resistance, and inside was a burnt shell, charred floorboards, cracked walls, a melted desk near the window. I approached it slowly and found a warped picture frame. Behind the glass, a photo. It showed a young man with shaggy dark hair sitting at the same desk, with a girl standing behind him, smiling. Her face was too faded to see clearly, but on the back was a name, Jonathan North, 1973 to 2002, and scrawled in shaky ink, for Theo, who always waved back. I staggered. That was my name. I dropped the frame and ran. The next few weeks were a blur. The figure vanished from the window. The scaffolding came down. Life moved on, except mine didn't, because now I saw Jonathan everywhere. Reflections, bus windows, dreams, always silent, always staring. One night, desperate to end the madness, I shouted into the flat, "What do you want?" My lights went out. The wind howled. Then a voice, not out loud, but inside me, whispered, "You took her from me." My breath caught. I remembered the girl in the photo. My therapist suggested hypnotherapy. Reluctantly, I agreed, and, under memories flooded back, I wasn't new to Camden in 2012. I was born there as a boy. I used to sneak into that very building with a girl named Clara, my neighbor. We played pretend in the flat opposite mine before it burned down. And one night, the fire started while I was trying to impress her with candles. She didn't make it out, but I did. The memory had been sealed away. Jonathan North wasn't a stranger. He was Clara's older brother. He lived there, and I had returned to that same street and faced his grief every night, never knowing it. I collapsed when the session ended. When I returned home, the flat opposite was dark, empty. I stood at my window and whispered, "I'm sorry." A moment later, the lamp flicked on. He was there again, just once, staring, then he nodded and vanished. Since that day, I don't see him anymore, but I still leave the curtain open, just in case forgiveness has more than one layer. And sometimes, when the wind moves a certain way, I hear Clara laugh. I think love, even after fire and death, waits patiently, watching across the street,